maybe it's a short-term drip campaign going for them. And then you don't get a hold of them for 10 days, call it. At the very end of this, as Alejandro has put many times, we're daisy chaining these action plans and automations together to say at the very end, we're going to change their stage for you to unresponsive. And that will then trigger another action plan, another automation, and we can continue to move these people through all of these stages, all of these just kind of parts of their kind of prospect, client, whatever you want to call them, time frame, lifestyle, and make sure that if they come back 2 years from now, they're on a drip campaign.
Exactly.
They're still being touched. So what we put here is they're getting that text, they're getting a tag to identify them, they're getting an email from you, on your behalf. Your lead responds, great, we can start to work that person. We create a deal. We have deal stages triggering additional automations and action plans. And then we close that deal, and now we're following up with them, and we're continuing to build that relationship, and we're continuing to build that rapport based on the fact that we closed the deal. So when I'm doing team trainings or anything along those lines, what I tell everybody, the most important thing you can do in Follow Up Boss is update your stages and log your communication. Communication doesn't play quite in as much to this specific thing, but updating your stages is absolutely key, and that's something that everybody needs to be as near perfect about as possible.
Yes, if you're not there yet, you need to get there. That's the biggest rock that you can move. If you're not updating your stage or categorizing your leads by stage, do that now. If you're on a team, if you run a team, one of the most effective training points you can do is share a chart of your stage names and have your team memorize them and repeat them back to you verbatim so that everyone's clear. There's no room for interpretation. This is what these stages mean. This is when to use them. Cool.
Exactly. And I just went through, obviously, the ideal lead experience. A lead came in, we had a conversation with them, we opened a deal, we closed that deal, good to go. Alejandro's going to go through something that you guys probably see a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, so a lead comes in, we fill out a form online, but we're like kind of just looking, right? Like, whatever. Here's my email, whatever. Lead hits the lead flow, it sends the immediate text. Maybe it gets into the hands of an agent who is very, very busy. They can't get to them for the first couple of days. That's when we have a step in your action plan to add a tag to. We'll go over this in detail, but because that agent hasn't reached out to them in X amount of time, it's going to then reassign that lead to someone who might, whether it be a pond, whether it be a different group, whether it be a specific agent. It's going to reassign that lead. That agent's going to follow through. And then it's going to be unresponsive, right? And so after X amount of days, the action plan will then change the stage for that person and start another supplemental follow-up, right? These email drips are always supplemental. Nothing is going to ever, as powerful as AI can get, it's never going to replace you as an agent. Never, right? So being on the phone, calling, leaving a message, nothing's ever going to replace that. So these emails are supplemental to you actually doing those actions, and of course smart lists have a lot to do with that. But let's say this person kind of gets away from you. They get marked as unresponsive or a different stage. That triggers another drip email, and then that lead eventually either responds to an email or just goes back to your website. And how are you going to know if they don't respond to your email? How are you going to know when's the ample time? when to strike that iron when it's hot? Unless you have some type of automation in place. So that's what the automation will do. And let's, I guess, take a look at what it looks like in Follow Up Boss.
Perfect. So this kills me every time. Alejandro's name for this person is Justin Looking. They came through the system, and this is the not ideal, but the average contact coming through. They came through the system. You can see that they received a text message automatically, and you can see that there was no further communication. The agent dropped the ball, which I know never happens, but this is just in case. This is, we want to make sure all of our bases are covered here. And it got reassigned automatically through that automation. Now we have someone like Alejandro who is on the ball, ready to go. You can see that he made that call, he left a voicemail, and that drip campaign has started for him automatically. What's going to happen is this lead does not respond. We can't get a hold of them. The next stage in this action plan automation is they're going to have their stage changed automatically, which you can see here on the left side. That stage was changed to nurture automatically. And when that stage changes to nurture, we now have an action plan starting that's going to be, I believe it's 10 months, but it's going to be months of drip campaign, months of emails going out.
Supplemental
Emails. We're still calling, we're still texting. We can kind of space out our outreach attempts quite a bit more when we have the emails to help us out, but we need to be attacking from all sides. We need to be texting, we need to be calling, we need to be emailing. If we can take one of those off your plate, like the emails, that's what we're trying to do here. If you get super busy, you can't call them, one of the months you're supposed to call them, they're still gonna get that email. You will still be top of mind when they come back and re-engage. The idea here is when they get to the end of that 10-month nurture email, what happens next? Is that a dead lead? Is that a stale lead? And this is where it's gonna be a different recipe and a different kind of outcome for every single team. Do you want to put them into the trash? Are you done reaching out to them? Should they go on a newsletter list?
Should they go to a pond? Should your ISA be reaching out to them? Do you have an ISA, right?
Right.
Like all of those things.
And it's as simple as just adding a step at the very end of that action plan that throws a tag on there, that changes their stage, that reassigns them, and nobody is slipping through the cracks. So this is kind of that example of the normal everyday lead. And then we also have your absolutely ideal candidate lead who turns out to be your best friend. So I'll let you take
your
that.
best friend lead, yeah. This is a lead that you can see they came in through a general inquiry. I reached out with this text. And then, this email. And then this text was sent automatically on my behalf instantly. They're probably still browsing whatever platform they registered on. And they responded, yeah, for sure I do. Awesome. I gave them a call, loves the property, wants to move forward, excited about the school district around them, right? You're always going to want to log the outcome of your call. Like Jordan mentioned earlier, the two most important things that you can do, stages and communicate through Follow Up Boss. If you don't have the dialer, check it out, but log your communication manually so that everyone always knows where the conversation left off. Everything's in one place. Track everything. That's what this is for.
You didn't change the stage.
I didn't change this. Oh my God. So yeah, they're in the active client stage. So I'm gonna start a deal for this person, right? Cool, we're ready to go. I started a deal here. We can see this deal card, 987 6th Street, started in September. It's in the buyer's pipeline. The stage is just buyer under contract. But we're, like a lot of the speakers are talking about SOPs, right? Standard operating principles or procedures. This is a wonderful platform to get all of your transactions managed through Follow Up Boss. Let me show you what I mean. As this deal progresses, we can see there's no tasks assigned, there's no action plans running currently. If we look at this deal, 987 6th, and we just move it over to the stage, offer, if we go back to this lead, you can see, right, whatever it is you need to do, documents, whatever, when the stage of the deal moves and progresses through that pipeline, so that no one's wondering what needs to happen with this deal, right? It's all spelled out, and we can dive into that a little bit deeper, but in order to ensure that nothing is slipping through the cracks, that deals happen efficiently and effectively, and you're shortening the time that it takes to close those deals, make sure that just everything's outlined, everything's spelled out. That way you have a list of tasks. When they're completed, you can view, have they been completed? Have they not been completed? As team leaders, you can go into the tasks area and filter for different people's tasks to see if they have any up. If they haven't done them, what's going on, right? Do you need help with this? So yeah, accountability through every step of the process, right? The deal moves forward again. I don't know if I set another automation for this. We did. Yeah, cool. So yeah.
And just to kind of throw it in as well, you know, a lot of teams that have transaction coordinators will use something like this to say every time you move into a specific deal stage, you're going to get a couple tasks, and those tasks are assigned specifically to that transaction coordinator. They come into follow-up us, and all they're looking at is their tasks, and they know exactly who to reach out to, what they need to send, where to go. It's going to pull them straight into these contact profiles, exactly. And you can just say every single time, you know, we move into pending, they get an email from you automatically. It says, congratulations on your offer being accepted. Here's what to expect in the coming weeks. Things along those lines. And the transaction coordinator can be very, very well kept up to date just by having a couple tasks each one, because nobody wants to see 50 tasks show up when they move a deal stage.
True.
But if we say deal stage to deal stage, you're going to get 3 to 5 tasks. It's very doable. And yeah, I mean, we can just, again, we're filling in every step of the way to make sure that there's no deal stage, there's no regular stage, contact stage, that doesn't have something tied to it. That's a good reminder for us.
Yep. And then finally, this moves to closed. You can see that the deals, it like aggregates the total volume, right, of all of your deals up there. That'll start the, you know, like the buyer to close deal. So it's going to do this in 2 days, right? Show, yeah, short example action plans. But to I guess wrap this all together, right? Lead initially enters your lead flow. If you're not doing this yet, admin lead flow. This is only available to admin level or owners. This is where you would assign an action plan, right? You can determine who it's distributed to automatically, and then you can choose your action plan. Buyer, new lead website, right? Let's just go with that one. Select it. Now every lead that comes in through that lead flow gets that action plan assigned to it automatically. Within those action plans, let's look at the anatomy of this action plan, right? The initial text gets sent from whoever it's assigned to. It immediately adds a tag, buyer, right? So this is gonna be assigned to my buyer lead flow. It's gonna send this welcome email on the second day, this house hunting email, and then on the third day, it's gonna add the lead check tag. And what the lead check tag does is it triggers an automation. So looking at this, where would that be? Right there.
Which one? Oh,
Agent
accountability.
Cool.
Yeah.
When that lead check tag is added on the third day, we have a condition here, which is if the calls made is less than 1, no calls have been made to this person, then it's going to reassign that lead to whoever we want, a particular agent, a pond, an ISA, whatever, back to the team leader. And then it's going to also add a note saying this lead was reassigned to you as it was not followed up with according to our well thought out, concrete, scalable workflow and clearly laid out standard operating procedures that our entire team clearly understands and has expressly agreed to. Call today. Hint, hint. Who wrote that? That was me.
That was me. You know.
And then, you know, this you can see here at the very bottom, you get the opportunity to either, once it's completed, it just runs one time per person, or if you click on it, you have the option of running it multiple times for the same person. We recommend this for the deals section because you want these automations to run every time someone goes through that deals pipeline, right? You don't want it to just run once, and ideally, you know, the same client would work with you multiple times, right? So we want that to happen every time. So yeah, you can see that in, let me get rid of that. With Justin looking, this guy, that tag was added, that lead check tag, and it was reassigned. With best friend, the call was made and he wasn't reassigned. The agent kept him, right? Now, I think that's pretty much it.
To finish this little wrapping present here, put a little bow on it, what we want for you guys, our goal for you is to have some ideas and really just be excited about automating more of your business. It is a game changer to make sure that everybody is being touched every time a new lead hits the system, every time a lead re-engages the system, every time you switch a stage, something is happening for you. We just want Follow Up Boss to do as much of the heavy lifting on your behalf as possible. And the best way to do that is to sit down with your team and just follow, just like we did, follow the lifespan of a contact, of a client, of whoever. When they hit the system, what happens?
Exactly.
When we update their stage, what happens? If we find out something about them where we're going to put them on a VIP list or add a specific tag, what do we want to happen? And just really go through step by step. This is the life cycle of a client or a contact, and this is what we want to happen through the entire process. So it really is, like I said, same ingredients, different meals at the end, but it's going to be a game changer and it's going to help you guys so much. So I know we have just a few minutes, but if anybody has questions,
yes,
quick question.
So the action.
Sorry. Can you speak into that mic, because this is being recorded and we want everyone to know and benefit from your beautiful question.
And as he's bringing the mic over as well, we definitely want to take questions that are a little bit more general and not super specific to, please ask your question, but not super specific to your own team, because we want to make sure that everybody gets as much as possible out of it.
Yeah.
Super general, 2 quick ones. Number 1, so the action plans, they're tagged or grouped in with the stage or with the tag, the action plans?
They can be triggered by either.
Okay.
So can you go to action plans and create a new one?
Yeah.
Or sorry, automations.
Automations, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
So these are all the triggers right now that can start an action plan. So automation really is just the trigger. The action plan is the actual events taking place, like tasks being added, emails being sent, things like that. Stages and tags are going to be probably the most frequent ones you see, but an incredibly helpful one is the calendar date. So people's birthdays coming up, anniversaries, anything along those lines, as long as you have information in Follow Up Boss, it's going to be able to help and, like I said, do the heavy lifting.
And then really quickly, just trying to test it out. My biggest fear is doing all of this work and then just trusting that the system's going to do it for you. So I've tried to test some and do some fake accounts or what have you to practice with my team.
Test leads.
And we're not getting them. The text messages at all aren't going through, and then the emails are going through, but we're finding them in the junk. Is that something that?
So text messages, Follow Up Boss currently will only send the initial text to if a few things are true. 1, the action plan has an initial text, right? And 2, that action plan is assigned to a lead flow. That's the only time that text will actually be sent out. So if you're trying to assign an action plan with an initial text to an existing lead, it's not going to send.
Okay.
Yep. What else did you ask?
That it's just going to the junk email. Junk or our test.
It's going to spam?
Yeah, when we're testing it with our own emails, just so examples, it's going straight to the junk.
I see. That may have to do with you sending it to a connected email address, for example, your actual business email that's connected to Follow Up Boss. It could be a lot of different things.
It could be content too. So if it looks a little spammy at all, or you guys are just kind of sending a word through, which is not what a normal email would look like, it can pick that up and throw it in the junk.
Thank you. Gentleman over here.
I know you probably can't speak too much to it, but are there any plans to make a trigger for an automation be a lead being assigned to an agent? That's something we're struggling with a lot right now, because we have ponds that we operate out of, and we're trying to figure out some way to do the accountability tracker once the lead is assigned, as opposed to right when it comes in.
Would you not want to add a tag to those leads in order to reassign them?
Well, that's the problem, is how would I add a tag if I don't know that it's being reassigned out of the pond?
Who's doing the reassigning?
The agent is, because that's the way that Follow Up Boss currently works.
Say that again?
The agent's reassigning.
The agent's reassigning them, so they're going to do a manual process anyway, right?
I mean, they are, but at that point, it's trying to get an agent.
I would habit stack. I would say if you're going to reassign it, this is the process when you reassign a lead from the pond. You reassign them manually and you add the tag. Habit stack, right?
It won't ever be a future.
I don't know. That's not a question I can actually give you an answer to. But I mean, there's a lot of like engineers here. You can ask them.
I can answer it really briefly. I mean, it's being considered. If you didn't get a chance to see the whole innovation program upstairs,
Jeremy, a little bit.
Yeah, Automations 2.0 is coming, and that's going to include a lot more triggers, and that is one that's being discussed. It might not be the first wave, but it'll probably be part of it soon.
Yeah, I appreciate it. We have
Cool.
the system now doesn't add that secondary tag. They're just not doing it as much because they're on their phone. It's just that other layer. I do like the way you had it going from the lead flow. So that's something like the lead check right after that. So I just was wondering if that was one thing that y'all were going to do. And the second thing, it could be that I've just missed it, but when you go to the action plan libraries and you add an action plan, that automation isn't always brought over from the action plan library into the automation library.
That's true. Yeah, you have to share it as a link. In automations, you share it as links, and they have to. They're more kind of. They're like less publicly shared.
Okay,
yeah.
gotcha.
Yep.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, of course. Anyone else have any questions? Yes, over here in the middle.
Hi, so question for you. We have a lot of agents who are manually inputting leads into Follow-Up Boss. Is there a way to make it required for certain information, like they have to put in first, last name, they have to put at least one tag, they have to put in the source?
There's not a way for the system to mandate that, but getting clear on that, right? That's maybe an opportunity for you to really lay it down, right? Hey guys, this is real. I need you to do this. And if they don't, Follow-Up Boss will know, right? And we understand that that's like, it's going to be a manual thing for you to like review, and you probably don't have time to do that. But like, believe me, there's I think there's like one thing that makes people change, and it's discomfort or pain, right? And so like if you drive the pain a little bit, they'll probably change.
He's saying rule with an iron fist.
Fear, by fear, not love. I'm kidding. Oh, this gentleman right here.
So we use Brokerment to manage all of our transaction data, but in Brokerment, not everybody looks in there all the time. And so what I'm curious of is in Brokerment, it will automatically add a deal into Follow-Up Boss. Can we have an action plan? Will an action plan be triggered off of that deal that's added by Brokerment into Follow-Up Boss?
No. And the reason why is because the automation trigger is the deal stage changes.
Got it.
Right. So when you first create a deal, this is a good. Thank you for bringing this up. I'm gonna share this because a lot of people get confused. They're like, I have an automation set for the buyer contract stage, but whenever I create a deal in the buyer contract stage, nothing's happening. That's because the deal stage is not changing. So if you don't, I would recommend people do something like this where, well, I'm not in the owner account, but like you would add a pre-stage, right? Like new buyer, right? If you do need some automation to go off when they go into the buyer contract stage. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Cool.
That makes sense. Just trying to figure out how to get it through the whole thing without messing up the metrics that Brokerment has for us
I
as
see
well.
what you mean.
Yeah.
Is there a way for Brokerment to add a tag or do any of the other automation triggers?
That's a good question.
We
I
have
know,
to- we have to check
and
that
this,
out.
this is kind of starting to get in the weeds a little bit, but there are kind of those third-party systems like Zapier and things like that where you can, a trigger would be creating a deal
Okay.
and then having something else happen, so something else to
would
look
make
at.
sense then. Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
cool. Thank you for that great question.
I think we got time for about one more question.
We got one more in the back right. Oh, two more.
I have a question regarding when you entered the tag lead check. Is there a way to trigger a tag to be added? Like, let's say if we give our brokers 2 hours, a 2 hour time frame to call back a lead once it's assigned, can that tag be added within a certain amount of hours? Or because I know in the action
Automations
plan,
2.0,
a day.
in Automations 2.0, that will be.
Oh, perfect.
Right now we're only working in days, but Automations 2 will be hours and minutes as well. This gentleman over here, he has a question as well. Jeremy, could you? He's had his hand raised. Or Lyndon, yeah. Thank you. And then I think we got to wrap it, right?
As far as automations go, can you set it up to automate to alert the agents, like for a birthday, anniversary, anything that
Yes.
is an automation?
So those would be custom, like they would be date automations. So looking at any custom field, any custom field that's a date field, for example, birthday, where is it? Right here. All it would take for you is to know that person's birthday and input it as a value, right? That's it. That's all you have to do.
And turn the automation on.
Oh, and turn the automation on. You can set up the action plan to either add a task or add a note that will notify you, but it won't notify you via an SMS text message. But you will get a notification of it. So, you would choose your email template that you want to send, or however you want to design that action plan, right? It can create a task for you. Hey, it's this person's birthday, you should reach out, or whatever. And then have the automation set up so that when that date, that calendar date field, birthday, is either today or in 5 days or whatever, then start the happy birthday action plan, right? And you can do that with any date field in Follow Up Boss, whether it's a custom field on the contact's profile or a custom field in deals. So pretty powerful stuff.
And we're obviously giving a lot of love to action plans and automations. That's the point of this conversation. But I have a lot of teams that use Smart List for that as well. So you can search, filter with a Smart List and say birthdays in the next 30 days, 7 days, whatever, and just always have that list ready to go without getting a bunch of tasks that may fall, kind of fall by the wayside.
Cool. Well, thank you guys for all your questions. I have time, so if you guys want to hang out, I'm not going anywhere, you can approach me. Yeah. But thank you so much again.
Yeah.
Really, really appreciate you.
Thank you guys.
Of course.